I heard that Vybz Kartel and the co-accused have been granted this leave to appeal their issues before the Privy Council. This is what we've been waiting for. Me just say, Bomba Alright, welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It is your host with the most one. Alright, to England we go. So, according to the Gleaner, and then I am going to give my own personal 2 cents. Kartel and the co-accused have been granted their leave to appeal their murder conviction at the Privy Council. As you all know, the Privy Council is in the United Kingdom, situated in London of the UK, and we've discussed this before where we talk about how come Jamaica's highest court is not in Jamaica. But that's for a whole nother set of discussion. Vybz Kartel and his co-accused have been granted conditional leave to go to the Privy Council in the United Kingdom and to challenge their murder conviction. Now, what a lot of people are saying are these things right here. 1, does the Privy Council have the power to say, free this man right away and Kartel will walk out? Or grant this man a new trial and a new trial will be granted? People have it to say also that the Privy Council really ain't never freed anybody, or really has never sided with any cases coming in from the Caribbean, so it will be interesting to see. There are others who are not being optimistic. For one reason or the other, they either don't like Kartel or don't like his music or something else them say, or not Gaza or whatever their reason is. They're saying it's not going to work, he's going to have to do all the time they gave him, and we're going to talk about all that. Level it out, level! Like Bounty Killer, so everybody can so everybody can understand. So, the decision was handed down this morning by the Court of Appeals. And one of the conditions is that they must file documents in the case within 90 days. That's not an issue. They've been waiting for long. Their lawyers have been on deck. On your mark, get set. They've been there and they've been waiting to hear, bow, go. So this was the bow, go, and they are off. I am absolutely sure. Further, they are permitted to put the following issues before the court. So they've been granted conditional. And they're telling you what the conditions are, right? They have been granted conditional leave. May I break it down so everybody understand it? And now these are the conditions. 1, the condition is that they must file the documents in the case within 90 days. 2, further, they are permitted to put the following issues before the court. So now, if you're really interested in the Vybz Kartel case, you're going to know what is going to be put before the Privy Council in the UK. So you better understand the case, right? 1, does the Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedom affect the court's authority to admit into evidence material acquired, secured, or collated in breach of the rights and freedom that the Charter guarantees? And if so, in what way? So I guess they're going to have to go prove that their rights were breached, that things went wrong in the trial against them, which resulted in an unfavorable verdict, which was a life sentence. Their lawyers will now have to prove what went wrong there. What was violated that could have caused that? How? The next one is how, if at all, does the answer to that question affect the admission of evidence which was acquired in breach of the right to privacy of communication and the Interception of Communications Act? 2 or 3, how are inquiries involving jury impropriety or misconduct to be handled when they arise? Whether the conviction of the applicant for murder are rendered unsafe by the trial judge's management of the issue of jury impropriety that occurred during the course of the trial, in particular, the procedure that was adopted and the extent of the inquiry that was conducted, the trial judge's refusal to discharge the jury, or any trial judge's directions to the jury following the inquiry into the issue of jury impropriety, and the failure of the Court of Appeal to expressly demonstrate its findings and conclusions in respect to the fresh evidence that was adduced or adduced or added concerning the issue of jury impropriety at the trial. What principles govern the latest time at which a jury may be asked to retire to consider its verdict? How, if at all, does the answer to question affect the conviction of these applicants? They had submitted almost 40 questions for referral to the Privy Council. One of the attorneys in the case, Bert Samuels, told the Gleaner that he is elated with the court's decision today. The men filed an application seeking to go to Jamaica's final court after their appeal was rejected in April, and they went there. The dancehall artist, whose name is Adidja Palmer, and his co-accused Sean Storm Campbell, Kahir Jones, and Andre St. John were all convicted in 2014 for the 2011 murder of Clive Lizard Williams. They were handed mandatory life sentences. As it went, Kartel was ordered to serve 35 years before being eligible for parole, while Sean Storm, Jones, and St. John were ordered to serve 25. The Court of Appeal in April shaved off only 2.5 years of that time. Now, as we all know, Kartel has been incarcerated for roughly a decade now, a whole decade. And we can say that he's been incarcerated for a decade, but been running dancehall for a decade, same way, even through his incarceration. But that's not what's on trial here today. What is on trial here today is going to be the details in his trial and what messed up caused that verdict. Now, in all fairness, let me say this. We just saw, just watch the whole Beachy Stout case, right? We just saw where a man admitted to having another man kill a woman in a gruesome way while he watched. She was in the car. She drove the car. They took her to a certain location. Yeah, man, turn up yourself. All right, let me jump out yourself real quick. More I'm pissing in a bush or something. Whatever they told her to get her there. And she's in there panicking. He gave in details what they did to her. And walked away with 19 years. Eligible for parole after 10. And I know a lot of people are saying yes, SouFlo, because they wanted the bigger fish. They wanted Beachy Stout. Them didn't want the little man. But I still don't believe that the little man should have gotten no 19 years for this. You understand? I'm sure his family is happy that he got 19 years and eligible for parole after 10. But having admitted it to where we know 100% say it's you that did it, I think you should have gotten about 35. At a minimum, since that is what they gave Vybz Kartel for a body that was never found. A situation that they claim occurred that they never proved. They claimed that the manner in which Lizard was killed. Now listen up. I know on these kind of videos a lot of people come with them nonsense and a Gaza, me say a gully, me say a this, me say a vendetta, me say. I'm not talking about none of that right now. When you see my father, son, when you see him situation, this was after years of y'all laughing at Vybz Kartel situation and the same thing happened. So at certain point we have to let go of the gully, Gaza, vendetta, this, that, patriot, whatever it is. Let go of it and just deal with the matter at hand. There was a lot of mess up in this case. A lot. The tampering with evidence is just one that I cannot get out of my brain. For the simple fact that they tampered with evidence tells me, and that tampered evidence was put into, tells me that law enforcement officials who are trained to handle this and also expected to perform their duties at a high professional level, for them to tamper with the evidence tells me a couple of things. And being on the end where I am going to defend the client, I would say that right there leaves too much room for doubt. As in, they purposely did something to the evidence and then submitted it back into the evidence room to have it used in court. It is not clean cut, clean clear evidence. It was tampered with. We have to look at that. That's the biggest part in the whole Vybz Kartel case. That case should have been thrown out long ago. Not to mention the way they said that this man, Lizard, was killed. Now, I want to have empathy and I want to have respect to his family members and his parents, right? But I am talking about what is provable in a court of law. And in a court of law, if the burden is on the prosecution, the people who come and say, you did this. If you come and you accuse me, SouFLoTV, of doing something, it is not my duty to prove to the public that I didn't do it. It is your duty to prove to the public with irrefutable evidence that I did it. And if you fail to do that, then you have just an accusation, not a solid case. And in Vybz Kartel's case, it was all speculations and accusations along with tampered evidence. Anybody with 2 cents can see that if you follow the entire thing. Now, not only was there tampering of evidence, which admitted, this is not us guessing that evidence was tampered with. This is officer admitting to tampering with the evidence. And it was still admitted in the court of law and used as a part of the conviction to get to the decision of conviction, when it should have been thrown out in the first place. Now, on the subject of how Lizard was killed, if you come and you say, yo, SouFLo, beat him with a pickaxe, you know, a pickaxe sticking up, and dig up him body and use the pickaxe and bust up him head and then them cut him up, and that was done somewhere, right? In a room, in a house, somewhere. And they have the house. Where is the forensic evidence? A team of forensic specialists to go in there and say, yes, we found blood sample. Blood sample belonging to this person. He was in here. His DNA was found here in the form of blood. He was in here. Or we find 2 of him teeth them in here. When people are burnt beyond recognition, your dental can describe or tell who you were, identify you. So at least find 2 teeth. They have found nothing. They have not come and said it was a bloody gruesome scene. They set the house on fire and then spread a rumor and have people saying a cartel them set the house on fire. Well, I said Kartel was incarcerated at the time that house was set on fire. Well, a cartel make him brethren them set the house on fire for hide evidence. Okay, in a court of law, we can argue this on both sides. Even if a place is burnt out, if a murder was committed in that place and there was blood splatter, given the way the prosecution described, because they described it graphically in court, there would be some type of evidence somewhere in there. And Vybz Kartel them was not given the opportunity to actually bring in an independent team of forensic specialists. They could have hired a team from overseas to fly in on behalf of their team. They made sure they bulldozed that house. Go on YouTube and look up a video that I did probably a couple of years ago that says Vybz Kartel lawyers can get him free if they do these things. Go and look up a video on YouTube that I put up a couple of years ago where I laid out every single thing that Vybz Kartel lawyers could do or present to the courts that would get them free. Where is the evidence from the house? How do they know? Because you can go into court and tug at the people, at the jury heartstring by describing a murderous, graphic, crazy scene. Peacock stick, blood, guts and everything. And the people will feel like, God, this is a monster. He should get life. But any intelligent person would ask, okay, me hear what you described, but where is the evidence? Show me. Because if you can show me the evidence, then I will say yes. But you have absolutely nothing. You're hinging this on a video that could have been used, could have been applied to anything. Preparing for a video shoot because he's an artist and the man used to work 24/7. He's an artist. He does videos. Some of them you might not like, but it's the content which his audience, his fans enjoy and they pay for it. He's supplying a demand. That video could have been anything. I didn't see anybody getting killed in the video. This is for the people who say, SouFlo, so you're just going to ignore the video. Oh, SouFlo, so you're just going to ignore the phone call, the voice note. Hello. There's been no proof about what happened in the house. Only a long story being told. There's been no proof in that video that who they said was killed was killed. There's been no proof in that phone call that this is the person they was talking about in the phone call. There's been no proof that that phone call is even connected in any way to this man's demise, if he is actually indeed dead. Now, in ending this video, I'm going to say this. Jamaica we come from, so we know the place run. 2 for 1. Alright, so we want to get rid of Kartel, but here what we're going to do. You see one when named Lizard? Everybody know him out there, right? That one there. We're going to get rid of him and then pin it upon him. But if they did that, they would at least have had a body. But then a body would point to forensics. And forensics would say Kartel was nowhere near that area when that happened. And they would need somebody to come tell them, say, like the man did in the Beachy Stout case. A Beachy tell we if you do it, you know. Him tell you exactly how to do it. Him say him don't want her shot. Him want her stab up. Him want her neck cut. These kind of things. They would need somebody to actually take the stand to tell them that. Kartel actually did tell us that. There's a lot of people out here believing the false narrative and the speculations and the this and that. I go off of what has come out to us, the public, already. For those of you who comment and talk about SouFlo, them have enough more upon him, you just don't know about it. Don't be an idiot. They have exactly what they have put out. Okay? For those of us who have followed this and in detail, they have exactly what they have put out. And what they have put out does not constitute a life sentence to me. They have a missing persons case is what they have. Not a murder case. A missing persons case. They haven't proven that this man has been murdered. You hear what I just said? So how can you charge somebody for murder and then give them a life sentence when you haven't even proven that the actual murder occurred? Anyhow, we're going to leave it right here. To England we go. And we are hoping for the best. Alright? Leave your comments in the comment section below. You think he's going to be freed by the Privy Council? Do you think that the Privy Council is going to look at this at a different angle? I have also heard that there is bad blood between the Privy Council and the higher courts in Jamaica, because they are saying, how would them idiot there? They think should have stopped at us, not go to them. But it has to, because under colonial rule, that is how the judicial system is set up. But they're not happy that it's going there. So let's see how it goes. Do you think he's going to be freed? Do you think the Privy Council is going to say, no, stay, because we see clear, concise, irrefutable evidence that you did this? Talk up. Intelligent minds, chime in. Reason with intelligence. Leave your comments in the comment section below. It's SouFLoTV. We still have set free Vybz Kartel. Years now, and still saying it. We've been saying it from it was unpopular. They damn near teared our channel down. Because we used to run Vybz Kartel video, Vybz Kartel. Because we believe in this man's freedom. We believe that this case was botched severely. Whether he did it or not, it has not been proven. I'm out. Peace.